Hello, this short video is going to show you how to import data into NRDS from an existing survey. Now, there's a number of factors and things to think about before you import. One is you need to get the template. So to get the template, come over to the page, the survey that you want, click Export, and export to CSV or Excel. So it's going to ask you a few questions. It's going to ask you about the features separator. That's basically how it's separating one line versus another. Embedded survey question separator. That's whether or not if you have like an embedded survey, like one survey that's feeding into another, how you can separate the different items within that. And then the feature separator, like how you're basically separating different records. So that's not super important right now, but it's something to be aware of. And then this other option is for when you're exporting into repeating sections. So that's like a subform, whether or not you want to include the first record into the repeating section. So then you click Export and you'll get your Excel sheet. So another scenario would be where you're going to import an existing Excel sheet into the app. And so you might have a few different situations. One, you might be creating and importing new records. Two, you might be updating a record. You might be updating the record. So I just updated a record. So what you need to be able to update or add new is to identify the unique column and then also your update columns. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to my survey and I'm going to click this green import button. Then I'm going to go and I'm going to select my Excel sheet and click open. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click this wheel right here and I'm going to identify the feature separator and these different things, and I'm just going to leave them to default. If I had more than one sheet to import, and I'll demonstrate that in another video because it's a bit more complicated, I could pick which sheets are going into which pages. So this down here is giving me a list of my different columns to import into. So what's important here to understand is that it's not necessarily the column name, but the order. And from my import survey, you can see I have no identifier column here. So I'm going to uncheck that. WBS1, that's my unique column that I want to match. So I'm going to check that as blue because it's my matching column. And you can see right here, this question mark gives me a little tutorial, right? These are my matching columns. So what I'm going to do to compare the new versus the old, so I'm going to compare this, what's in this WBS field, to what's in this field right here. Then I'm going to check the other fields as fields that would be updated by existing data. And so what's really important here is to make sure that the data types match and everything's all nice. So I'm going to close this interface and now I'm going to click Upload Spreadsheet. It's going to go and it's going to grab my data. And it's going to tell me that, hey, you have duplicate records. And this is going to actually allow me to match the duplicates or skip the duplicates. And then it's going to warn me about new rows. So these are my rows, 2, 3, and 4 that are new records. So I'm going to click Add New Records. Then I'm going to click Import Surveys. I'm going to select Yes. I'm going to wait a few minutes while it imports my data. And you don't want to skip away from the page while it's doing this because you'll lose your import. So it might take a couple seconds while it's importing the data. One other thing that if you have things that fail to import, and these are probably our duplicates, you can click this and it will actually export the error report for you. So I'm just going to click on that. And you can see, look, these are my error reports. So now you can export an error report. And so this thing's still exporting. Give it a couple more seconds. Sorry about the long tutorial, but maybe I'll edit this out for you later if you're lucky. And should be done in a few seconds. And then once it's done importing, it's going to ask us if we want to add the new records. Okay, and then it's going to ask us if we want to upload the 3 new records. We click yes, and this should go a lot faster. And so now, when we close this, we come over here, we have our 1, 2, 3. We also have our updated record that was already in there. So that's a quick tutorial about uploading and importing data into NRDS. Thanks for watching.